Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, here I usually put in 3 bullet points of what the content of the show will be about, but come on, you all know what today's show will be about. Welcome to Speedway Report for Monday, August the 6th, 2018, from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. I want to begin the show tonight with the usual. We'll get to the victory lane lap because we've got a lot of commentary, and I don't want to take away from the on-track performance that was turned in over the weekend by all these good racers. That's what our sport is about. Bigger stories come up, but let's give credit where credit is due and begin with the victory lane lap. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour was in Watkins Glen, New York, and Chase Elliott took a long-awaited, well-deserved first of many career victories. We're going to talk about Chase, Dad Bill, Hall of Famer. Yes, big story. We are going to talk about that tonight as well. It's too bad it's being swept under the rug at a lot of places, but yeah, we'll talk about that as well. The Xfinity Series raced Saturday a little bit in the rain in Watkins Glen. Joey Logano guided Penske to victory on Saturday afternoon. Last Friday night, NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour was at their home stomping grounds, Stafford Springs, Connecticut. Doug Coby won the 150-lap feature, took a ride through the infield early on, dropped back, came back to win. Nice work by Doug and the team there. The tour is back in action Wednesday night, 2 nights from now, as we go live in Thompson, Connecticut. If you're up in the area, go support the Mod Squad. NASCAR's K&N Pro Series East was also part of the Watkins Glen weekend. Brett Moffitt won the race there. A lot of rain. It's a good experiment with the road course cars. IMSA was at the beautiful Road America up in Wisconsin. Colin Brown and Jonathan Bennett won the prototype class for Score Autosports. Nice job, gentlemen. NHRA was up in Washington at the Northwest Nationals. In Top Fuel, Antron Brown took his first win in over a year, or just a year. It was the Seattle event 1 year ago was the last time Antron went to victory lane. In Funny Car, your winner was Ron Capps, and Tanner Gray took Pro Stock. World of Outlaw late models raced last week at New Richmond, Wisconsin. Big event there. Began on Thursday night with a preliminary feature. Brandon Shepard won the A-main on Thursday. They did some qualifying on Friday night. Saturday, the big 100-lap, $50,000 to win race. Well, Shepard liked that check cashing deal so good on Thursday. He took home the $50,000 on Saturday night. World of Outlaw Sprint Cars ran a doubleheader at Kenny Schrader's track in Pevely, Missouri. The Ironman 55 that raced Friday night and Saturday night. $20,000 to win each race. Rico Abreu took the checkered flag on Friday night, and Saturday night, Logan Schuchart wound up in victory lane. First A-main win of the year for Schuchart. I double-checked that statistic. I was surprised at that, even though we read the winners here every week. I don't remember them all, and I figure, well, Logan's probably won at least one A-main on the tour this year. Negative. Well, it's a good time for him to get hot as we head into, you know what, Knoxville Nationals week coming, well, this week. We're in it. Now, the USAC Midgets made a valiant effort for Pennsylvania Sprint Week last week, air quotes. Thursday night in Spring Run, PA was rained out. Friday night in Jonestown also rained out. So their week essentially was a weekend. Newmanstown, Pennsylvania, Zeb Wise on Friday night or Saturday night, recovering from a broken collarbone earlier in 2018. Wise took the checkered flag Saturday. And your winner last night in York Haven, Pennsylvania was Chad Boat. The small block modifieds winner at Saturday night in Grandview, Pennsylvania was Craig Von Doren. And the Cars Tour held a very neat event, their annual Throwback 276 in Hickory, North Carolina, not far from us. Encourage teams to dress from the past, to do some decals, some wraps, some paints to celebrate the history of stock car racing. Pretty cool event. The 276 split amongst a feature for the super late models and the late model stock cars. Brandon Setzer won the super late model race, and the late model stock car is taken by Josh Berry. At the Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Jason Myers won the 100-lap NASCAR Modified feature. And let's start with Knoxville, Iowa. This past weekend was the 360 Nationals. Thursday night, your winner was Thomas Kennedy. Friday, Carson McCado. Cool win there because he was piloting Jason Johnson's number 41 on Friday night. Very big win. Saturday night, the big 360 Nationals finale won by Terry McCarl, former guest right here on this show. And last night, the first race of the week for the 410 sprints, the Capitani Classic, taken by Brad Sweet. The Knoxville Nationals will go green with the first qualifying preliminary night Wednesday of this week. It's a pretty big Wednesday for us. The Bud 150 up in Thompson, Connecticut for modifieds, and the first night of the Knoxville Nationals. All right, let's talk about the big topic today. Brian France. Oh, where to begin? Fortunately, I've got some outline thoughts on the whole thing. Now, I want to begin criticism and compliment for the folks at Sirius NASCAR Radio. The complimentary style is, yeah, they did not want to get away from speculation, but they did want to deal in facts. So I thought that was fair. The only way we should be doing this is really dealing with the facts on the matter first. So it doesn't take long for all the misinformation to come out and a lot of things, people exaggerating and coming up with some fluff on the internet, Twitter, Facebook, social media, etc., about Brian France's arrest last night. So simply put, I did some research. How about that? Tim Leeming loves it when I do research. But I got the press release from the police department in Sag Harbor, New York, literally right from the police department. I'll read it to you. On August 5th, 2018, that was last night, from the Sag Harbor Village Police Department arrested Brian Z. Fance for aggravated driving while intoxicated and criminal possession of a controlled substance in the 7th degree. Mr. France was observed operating a 2017 Lexus northbound on Main Street, failing to stop at a duly noted stop sign. Upon traffic stop, it was determined that Mr. France was operating said vehicle in an intoxicated condition. Upon search of his person due to a lawful arrest, Mr. France was in possession of oxycodone pills. Mr. France was arrested and processed, held overnight for arraignment in the morning. Mr. France was arraigned at the Sag Harbor Village Justice Court on 8/6/2018 at 9:30 a.m., where he was released on his own recognizance. That is not speculation. That is facts, word for word, the written statement from the Sag Harbor Police Department. So that's what we're dealing with here with Brian France, who came into power, we'll call it, as the, president, chairman, whatever his title is, the boss of NASCAR in 2003. I believe we'll call him the chairman because at the time Mike Helton was president of NASCAR. In 2003, I want to give credit to France where credit is due. He changed something big in the style of what NASCAR was, and that I really want to thank him for this, as we stopped racing to the yellow flag. In all these decades, we raced back to the yellow flag when a caution flew out. The caution was only activated at the start-finish line as opposed to any point on the racetrack. The caution was effective at the start-finish line. So for position, gaining laps back, keeping guys' laps down, drivers would literally race and often put themselves in an extremely dangerous situation of racing through a crash zone. And I've said this before, it's a miracle we didn't kill someone with the racing back to the yellow. France put in the idea of scoring loops and freezing the field when the yellow came out wherever you are on the racetrack. There's lots of ways to do this. Your local grassroots track goes to the previous completed green flag lap. NASCAR decided to do a field freeze, so to speak. That aspect of it, the safety aspect of it, is good, and that was done under France's tenure. That is something I want to thank Brian France for. That is also where my thanks stop. He's made a lot of changes to the sport that I love so dearly. I don't like any of them. Let's get to the rogues gallery, shall we? Following the 2003 season, the 2004 season was the first season of the chase. So he put the chase into play. He put the top 35 rule into play. Remember that? The top 35 in car owner points were locked into the field. The car of tomorrow, I believe that's nicknamed some kind of generation car. Are we 6 or 7, whatever that is? Remember the car of tomorrow in the wing? Oh, yeah, the car of tomorrow. We've got the lucky dog / free pass, where the first driver 1 lap down gets his lap back. We've got the wave around, where guys can stay out on the racetrack and go in front of the cars that pitted and then get a free lap back because the pace car picks up the actual leader of the race who's in first place. We've got the chase has evolved several times into wild cards and current playoff format. We've got a top 4 Miami championship race for trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. We have stage racing nowadays. So with all that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, that's a pretty good start to destroying any sport that I used to love, which Brian has done a great job of as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go to some statements from NASCAR as well as Brian France. I'll quote again, no misinterpretation. Statement from NASCAR. And this was roughly 2 to 3 hours ago. Brian France has taken an indefinite leave of absence from NASCAR as chairman and chief executive officer. Effective immediately, NASCAR Vice President and NASCAR Vice Chairman and Executive Vice President Jim France has assumed the role of interim chairman and chief executive officer. Statement from Brian France, and I quote, I apologize to our fans, our industry, and my family for the impact of my actions last night. Effective immediately, I will be taking an indefinite leave of absence from my position to focus on my personal affairs. I put this on a Facebook post on a friend's wall not too long ago. The statement from Brian France, I wish he released that statement the morning after he announced the first chase format for 2004. I apologize to our fans, our industry, and my family for the impact of my actions last night. Effective immediately, I will be taking an indefinite leave of absence from my position to focus on my personal affairs. Dude, you're 14 years too late, okay? You should have done that in 2004. Let's go over a little rogues gallery of our own, of yours, dude. The Chart House down in Florida in December of 2006. Do you all remember this? Or he crashed into a tree at his condo, and after a few drinks at the Chart House, then he walked inside. The police investigated an accident, and France was already inside the apartment, so there was no proof of a DUI there. July of 2009. Let's have a quote from Jeremy Mayfield. Remember, Mayfield had a long, big story in NASCAR with his suspension, with his issues with drugs. True, false, whatever. Here's what Mayfield had to say. Quote, Brian France out there talking about effective drug policy. It's kind of like Al Capone talking about effective law enforcement. And that's the way I feel about it. The pot shouldn't be calling the kettle black. You know what I'm saying. And I think the world needs to hear that too. End quote. Let's go back last year to just December of 2017 at the Cup Championship ceremony in Las Vegas, where he slapped Martin Truex Jr. with the ring and walked off stage without even as much as a handshake to the new champ. There have been rumors circulating. I don't have anything personal to offer as far as eyewitnesses myself, being in and out of NASCAR a little bit. But there's been all kinds of rumors and the talk under, bench racing around here in Charlotte, Mooresville, in my time in the industry, of what kind of person Brian France is and his partake in drugs and alcohol. I've heard it many times, no proof, got nothing to back it up, but often when there's smoke, there's fire. Last night, it was clear. Here's another incident. There have been multiple cases, over the years of you kind of raise your eyebrow and go, what's going on with this guy? here he is with this arrest last night, something that should have gone along, I wish came a long time ago, not just for his actions off the track, but simply what he's done for the sport. People were talking last night and this morning and today about what an embarrassment Brian France was to NASCAR. Yes, I've been saying that for 14 years about this guy, and it had nothing to do with drugs and alcohol. It's what he's done to a sport that I loved so dearly growing up. People wave the flag of, this is not your grandpa's NASCAR anymore. This is not your father's NASCAR anymore. Yeah, you know, you're right. It isn't. And that's why we got so many empty seats. Back in my grandfather's NASCAR, my father's NASCAR, we couldn't build stands fast enough. The television ratings just skyrocketed week to week, year to year. You can quote me on this one. All the quotes I read from all these other people, here's the quote from Patrick Reynolds, Speedway Report host. I'll tell you guys right now, quote, I am not any more embarrassed today for NASCAR than I was when we announced the first chase format for the 2004 title. Brian, you have destroyed the sport I hold near and dear to my heart. I hope you get the help you need as a human being, but as far as your relationship with NASCAR, good riddance. Goodbye. Bye, Felicia. Get out of NASCAR. You've destroyed this thing and wrecked it till we've got falling TV ratings, sponsors leaving left and right, empty grandstand seats. You've destroyed NASCAR. Good. For whatever reason, I hope you're gone, and I hope you're gone permanently. You've done enough damage. Goodbye. With that, I'm going to step into some happier news. Good friend Kathy Dorton pointing to me on Facebook, don't let this ruin a great day of racing. Sorry, Kathy, he's ruined a sport. I was going to devote some time to Speedway Report to telling him how bad he's ruined my sport. Now, Chase Elliott had a fantastic first win yesterday. The Dawsonville pool room siren blared loudly. Fantastic. Bill Elliott, NASCAR Hall of Famer, his son Chase is ready to take up the mantle of the most popular driver in NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt held that crown for I don't know how many years. What was it? 15, 16, 17 years. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the most popular driver every year. Get ready for another run. It's going to be by Chase Elliott. Now, I've covered this sport for several years as a journalist after my time in the NASCAR garage area and in shops. When I cover it as a journalist, you do try to be impartial. Granted, I just got on a soapbox and gave my opinion. Okay, when I write stories and cover a race, when it comes time to share my opinion, I do it. When it's time to report the facts, I do it. I don't root for any particular one driver against the other. I root for the great story. However, that being said, if I could take off my journalism hat, put my race fan hat back on, if I were to be a fan of a driver, wear his stuff, wear his equipment, buy T-shirts, hats, pull for a guy, find a guy, my guy would be Chase Elliott. Like how he drives, I like a lot how he drives. I like his attitude. He's humble. He blames himself first when they don't win. He doesn't finger point to other people. Whether it is or is not his fault, he looks in the mirror first and takes responsibility for what happens on and off that track in a team. He is a superstar in the making. I think everybody knows it. This first win has been a long time coming. We all knew it would be sooner or later. This has taken about 2.5 years, a lot more than we really thought it would be originally. I thought he'd see victory lane okay right now. Saw him run a lot of short tracks, late model racing before he made the move to the big leagues. He looked outstanding every time I saw him in his short track. Looked great, and you knew he was going to be a winner. It was a outstanding talent on the short tracks at such a young age in his teenage years. I remember interviewing one time in the North Wilkesboro press room. He won a super late model race when they reopened the track. Young man was still in braces. He was a teenager, still had braces on, and he was in the press room victory lane from winning a super late model race at North Wilkesboro. A great win, great story for NASCAR. The bigger one, yeah, Brian France. If that didn't happen, Chase Elliott would be all over the media today. Props to Chase Elliott for his win. Fantastic, wonderful job, young man. If you don't like Chase Elliott, you got a long road ahead of you because he's a big winner and a champ as we go forward in the Cup Series. On the short tracks, the focus is on Knoxville, Iowa this week. The Knoxville Nationals kick off. I will not be going for the 49th year in a row of my life. Definitely a bucket list. I don't want to go just for Saturday's finale. I'd like to go, like I was talking about, go to the 360 Nationals the week before, the Capitani Classic on Sunday night, go to Oskaloosa tonight and tomorrow night, and then back to Knoxville on Wednesday. Just have sprint car racing for, 10 straight nights? Sign me up. I'm in. And in spite of all the news, the headlines that we've already covered, I want to give my respects. Since we were on the air last, we lost one of the great writers, one of the great storytellers, and very much up there, arguably the best. But Tom Higgins left us since we were last on the air. He is enshrined in the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the Squire Hall Award, a winner in the past. I used to read Tom Higgins' work a lot when I was younger. When I entered the media portion of NASCAR, I got to meet Tom Higgins, and lo and behold, actually kind of surreal, got to be friends with Tom Higgins. Outstanding writer, outstanding storyteller, chronicled decades of NASCAR history, great writer. I was privileged to be actually quoted in a book that he did a few years ago. So Tom Higgins, rest in peace. We will have a celebration of life for Tom Higgins this Saturday coming up at the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina, from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the NASCAR Hall. If you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, come on by. I think everybody in the NASCAR media would love to meet you and hear a Tom Higgins story or memory from you. Everyone in between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and all of our past shows are uploaded on the site. We also have some racing articles to read, so click on over to SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and our past episodes are on Facebook at the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds page, on the Racers Reunion Facebook page, on Twitter at Speedway Report and at Speedway Pat, in the forum on racersreunion.com, and as I said, on the website SpeedwayReport.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, and our 2 new YouTube channels. Just do a search. I will come up. You can watch all of our Speedway Report episodes. Big thanks to everyone on the Facebook Live feed for joining the conversation during the show tonight. I will get back to you guys shortly. I appreciate you tuning in. And as always, go see a race at a track near you. Our grassroots ovals, drag strips, and road courses are the backbone and the foundation of the auto racing world. So please don't let Saturday night and Friday night die. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and you can follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rocking with Draglist.com. You can join Bill, John, and Barb for your drag racing news and some cool music. So head to Facebook and go to Drag Racing List. I will be back live here and the 58th annual Knoxville Nationals. Thank you all for joining us. I will see you next time.